What's going on in the End podcast family? Welcome back to another episode. We're back in the shop. I know it may not look like we're in the shop, but we're still here. We decided to switch it up for y'all today. I'm super excited about today's episode. We're going to be diving into a little bit, it's almost going to be like a part 2 of our pain video, our pain podcast that we did. Because we want to talk about people who are experiencing hurt, but that hurt has almost overtaken their life. Like when people say hurt people, it is a very true thing. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit, but I'm super excited to be back in the shop with y'all. I feel like I got like different energy today. It feels almost like it feels like we're starting a new season, but it's not really a new season. Because there's so much that me and Mike are like trying to figure out. We want to do a spiritual warfare series for you guys. I know that's something that you guys had talked about. And just I actually just want to give you a little bit more insight about me and where I'm from and things like that, and Mike doing all of that. And so I kind of want to do, for next season, I'm thinking about doing a couple episodes where we just introduce ourselves all over again, getting the nitty gritty. Yeah. And so it'll be fun. But for today's topic in particular, I think for me, when it comes to this whole talk about pain and hurt and all of the things, I think our generation, I think our generation is actually very soft.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, we say that, now I'm not denying trauma. Let me be very clear. I'm not denying traumatic experience and trauma. Mm-hmm. However, I do want to emphasize that a lot of our generation, we find hurt in things that don't actually need to hurt us. Mm-hmm. Like, you mean to tell me someone hurt your feelings over social media? That you didn't physically see? That you don't know? So you've allowed a hate comment to affect your disposition on the world. I almost kind of want to make this a conversation not only on hurt, but health and healing. Because it's one thing to be hurt, but it's a whole different idea for you to stay there. And I think that there are so many people in our generations who get hurt. We deal with the hurt of a breakup. We deal with the hurt of someone saying something about us on social media. We deal with the hurt of experiencing just life experience. And we stay there. And we reminisce, and we play that moment in our heads over and over and over again. And it's almost like we are rehearsing this level of hurt that we have experienced in our life. And for me, I think that the reason why there are so many people who stay there is because they don't know how to get out. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to ask for help. They don't know that they probably should see a therapist for their trauma. They don't know. Like, it's very common in the church where you can't counsel out what needs to be cast out.
I've heard it 1,000
And it's like,
yeah, come on now.
But you also can't cast out what needs to be counseled out.
Yeah.
There are some things that just need a different level of expertise. Mm-hmm. Let me say it like this. We are triune beings. God is a triune God. He's 3 in 1. Mm-hmm. And he has created us in his image and according to his likeness. So that means that we are triune beings. That means that we are a spirit, we have a soul, and we live in a body. Mm-hmm. And I think what happens is we try to fight soul issues in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
Because what is your soul? Your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And so there are a lot of individuals who are dealing with emotional experiences, dealing with things that are going on in their mental health, that think that by simply going through spiritual warfare, that's how I get delivered from it. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can experience a temporary moment of relief, but true change happens when you fight it in the right realm. Yes, there's a part of it that probably is spiritual, but there's also a part of it that needs to be worked out on the soul level. Mm-hmm. We have to get into the kinks of your soul, the nitty-gritty of your soul, not just eat a mosquito bubble mashandai for 35 minutes. You vomit in a bag. And now you got deliverance. But there is a level of intentionality of after you have been set free, you are walking through the process of being free, remaining free. It's great that you went to a church service. It's great that you have experienced that level of freedom. Now the Bible says what? From glory to glory, from faith to faith. Now you have to go from freedom to freedom. You have to access a new dimension of freedom by setting up the right parameters for the right realm.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people, they don't realize how much they're slowing their lives down by sitting in that pity. Like you ever, oh God, I don't know. I think when you give yourself an excuse to slow your life down, you will always validate your slow and shortcomings.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very mature or wise at all to marinate in something that's happened to you a long time ago. It's really difficult, though. I will say I've dealt with clients that have come in the shop or even been in some early gigs that I used to do, and you feel the pressure people are walking with.
Yeah.
Like, you really do, especially when you have a relationship with God and you ask every day, God, show me what to do, what to say to who, and he will show you that. But be careful of that, because you will end up start taking on those emotions that people are walking around with. But I think that it's very wise for you to pray to how to get over it. A lot of us aren't praying for the wisdom to get over things. We're praying for the wisdom of what to say to them. We're praying for the wisdom of how to counsel, but we're not praying for the wisdom to get over it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the bigger thing, is why is it that a big of a deal in the first place? One thing I've had to learn, especially in entrepreneurship, is it does not matter that much. It really doesn't. A lot of what we get mad at is very minor stuff. And then also, it's, you won't go through anything if you find yourself not going through anything else. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
The more you go through things, the more you have coming for you. It's only there to make you not only a better person, but a better communicator, a better whatever you're praying for, employer, employee, whatever it is. That's something that happened is a learning lesson. Either it's a blessing or a lesson. And I think a lot of us turn those lessons into bitterness so fast.
Yeah.
We think so surface. We're not thinking, okay, God, what do you need me to learn from this? Instead, we turn wickedness and bitter, and we're blaming this person for something that happened for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
For now, that's turned into 5 years. And we don't realize you slowed your life down 5 years.
Jesus.
God needs you to go here, but because your mind, your soul, and your spirit is stuck in this one situation, every time you see this person, you crunch up and you get upset, or you can't even be there. That's immaturity.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of, honestly, I think a lot of it is harboring unforgiveness. We just don't know how to forgive anymore. Like, it has become our nature to just keep everything attached to us. And if I'm honest, I've talked about this before, but I remember the day my pastor made me forgive my dad. Like,
And that's a tough thing to do when he's already passed.
exactly. So I'm sitting there, we're at Chick-fil-A in the parking lot, not even in the building yet. And I remember just being angry, so angry. And me telling my pastor all these things that I wish my dad did. I wish my dad was this, and I wish my dad was that, and I wish my dad talked to me about girls, and I wish my dad did all of these different things. And I remember just going into a place where I was just super angry, overwhelmed with just like,
Rage.
I wish that he would have been something that I felt like I needed. And this man looked at me and said, yeah, it sounds like you need to have another funeral for your dad.
That would hit me in the gut. Oh my
I
goodness.
went, what did you just say?
What you just said?
He said, it sounds like you need to have another funeral for your dad.
Man, that's so real. That's so real.
And I think the issue is that there are so many of us who are living in this generation who believe that people can be something that they're not equipped to be. I posted this quote the other day. I realized that you can't buy milk at Home Depot.
That's a great thing. I'm kind of skeptical if I see some milk at Home Depot.
Why? Because when I go into a type of hardware store, there is a level of expectation that I go in there with, knowing that I can get. I would be ignorant to assume that I can get a whole grocery list by walking into a Home Depot, because that's not what they're there for. And so I think there are a lot of people who we bring people into our lives. We get into these relationships. We have these experiences. And since it's not what we expected them to be, we are now angry at the individual. When in actuality, we should be angry with ourselves because we had misplaced expectations in the first place. There's a story in John chapter 5 where Jesus heals this lame man at the pool. And Jesus looks at the man and he says, hey, do you want to be well? This is the only question Jesus asked him. Do you want to be well? And the man said, well, every time that the waters are troubled, for me to go in and get healed, I have no one to carry me. And Jesus is like, I didn't ask you that. Like, I think that there are so many of us who we place the responsibility of our healing on other people. Not realizing that you are solely responsible for your healing. You are solely responsible for your soul. You are solely responsible for your forgiveness. You cannot expect someone else to heal you. This man had the expectation that he needed other people in order to experience healing, not realizing that true healing was in front of him all along. And there are so many of us, God is trying to heal you. He is trying to give you a level of healing. He is trying to give you a dimension of healing. But you have attached your healing to a person. You have attached your healing to a place. You have attached your healing to a salary, so much so that once you think you get there, you're healed. And God is saying to you, do you want to get well? Do you actually want to be well? Or are you okay to sit here on your mat for the rest of your life? Do you want the empowerment that I'm trying to give you? Or do you just want pity? Because if you want pity, I'll leave you here.
For sure.
I'll leave you here to sit and beg. But if you want power, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to tell you, hey, pick up your mat and walk. And I think that there is a generation of people
that haven't been told to get up.
Bro,
there's so many enablers out here.
We want to be enabled, not empowered.
There it is. That's the one I'm looking for.
That's good. That is good. Oh God.
I'm trying to think of a way to say this so I might just have to piss some people off. But like,
fire away, man. This is our platform.
There is a difference between okay.
Well, here we go.
As a kid, right? When you walk past the kitchen and you see your mom in the kitchen and the stove is hot, right? You're told not to put your hand on the stove. Sometimes you got to do it anyway to get burnt. This is my thing. If there is a certain trait over a certain people, and you still walk around those same people, what makes you think? Oh my goodness! What makes you think you'll be any better than them?
Right, bro.
Surround yourself with empowering people. My whole thing is, if I decide to hang around people that aren't spiritually strong, they will suck my spiritually strong dry. It's like there's no wrong way to. There is a right way. There is a wrong way. You have to be careful who you tread around because they won't only just take your energy, but they'll strip your gift from you slowly.
Yeah.
Because they'll allow you to walk outside of the will that is already called over you. So when you give that projection to somebody that doesn't know how to help you nurture that gift, there is no empowering. There's only enabling.
Yeah.
Enabling you to stay where you are, enabling to stay in that sin, enabling you to stay away from growth. My whole thing is when I started hanging around people that had more than me, I started getting more.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. You hang around a barbershop, you're going to get a haircut eventually. So hang around people that have that empowering trait instead of people that aren't known with good fruits. I think that mentorship and being a student is great right now when you don't know exactly where you want to go and what you want to do. Find that person that will not only empower you, but help you and your gift to not walk around in bitterness, to not walk around in pain that you can't describe. It's really tiring doing that. So when you hang around people that have that empowering spirit with you, you'll walk around empowering other people as well. So it's a great thing to follow and tread around people that will help you and not enable yourself. I lived in that for years. Here we go.
Okay. I think the issue that I have with our generation and this whole idea of staying hurt is that we find a level of comfort in blaming so many other people that we never take the moment to actually look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And we don't assess the fact that most of the stuff that we have experienced could have been avoided had we been better stewards of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, had you actually not been around that friend group,
You got to talk about that. A lot of people don't know how to be good stewards of their own spirit, like of their own mind. They don't know how to be good stewards of that stuff. I need you to help them break that curse.
because to me, okay, let's just look at this from a very practical level. If let's say I say to you, hey bro, you know what I'm thinking about doing today? I'm thinking about just going buck wild. I'm gonna buy me a 40. I'm gonna get me a blunt. I'm about to be crossfaded, and I'm about to go on live. You would look at me.
Y'all be like, Jay, what are you talking about, dude?
And you would
Give
say,
me your phone, bro.
what is wrong with you?
What are you talking about?
Are you okay?
Dre.
Yo! But it's like, there are so many people who I believe you have people who either enable you or are empaths with you.
Those empaths are
They're-
dangerous. They'll help you stay there, Doc.
And so there's no one there to actually empower you and correct you. You have people who either say, "Oh no, you're good," like,
Right.
or "No, I see why you did that," like. And so we have people who either give you the right of way to stay stuck in your mess and bring you that validation of enabling you. But there's never been anyone in your life who actually took the moment to correct you. And I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to articulate is that sometimes if you don't have no one in your life to be that for yourself.
Right.
Look in the mirror and say, woe is me.
Right.
I am a man of unclean lips. I have to do the self-assessment to say, I'm a mess. I actually need God to take the areas of my life where I am broken, to take the areas of my life where I'm lackadaisical, to take the areas of my life where I actually need refinement and development and highlight them to me. Sometimes we wait so much on other people, not realizing that God has given you the ability within yourself. He has empowered you all along. That man who's sitting there at the pool of Bethesda, he could have crawled.
He could have moved.
Just because your legs don't work. What do we... You better get on your... out all the way to the
The
pool.
whole Carlton scene from Fresh Prince. I'm crawling on that floor all the way over there.
And it's like, there are so many people who don't realize that God has enabled you for healing. He has enabled you for deliverance. He has enabled you for grace. But you would rather stay stuck here because you've gotten comfortable in your excuse. So now you rehearse in your mind everything that has transpired to you. And I'm not negating your pain. You have experienced that pain. That pain has happened. But are you going to allow it to just stay there? Or are you going to realize that God had an intended purpose for that pain from the moment in which it happened? He did not cause it, but he will use it. Yeah. And one of the things that I hate that people say is, well, if God was real, then why did such and such and such happen to me? Well, because humanity governs the earth.
Yeah.
God governs heaven.
Yeah, I want to explain that too, because I don't think people understand that free will is a thing.
Please go there.
God has chosen to he chose, not it happened, he chose to partially limit his power just enough to give us free will. My whole thing is this. If you want a girlfriend or boyfriend, right, you want to start dating, would you want them to be forced into loving you, or would you want them to choose you?
Yeah.
God wants us to choose him. Free will has to be a thing because it's the only thing that proves our relationship with the Father. I also think tough love is a great thing. I was going to say that about 5 minutes ago. But I grew up with a father that gave a lot of tough love.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm still so blessed to have both my parents. But even now, there's the mom that's nurturing, and there's a father that mainly disciplines in the house that I grew up in. My father gave me a lot of that tough love because I'm like, and after a certain age, like 20, 21, I'm like, why am I tripping?
Yeah.
Like, the past 5 or 6 years of what my father was trying to tell me, even my grandfathers, both of them, God rest their souls, were trying to tell me, like, yo, this is going to happen, this, yada, yada, yada. And now that I'm walking in there, I'm like, yo, I can't trip over these things because it will slow you down. It really will slow you down. And I think when somebody gives you tough love instead of empathy, you get further. That's just me.
Yeah.
I really believe that you do get further when you allow yourself to get over things faster.
Yes.
It's okay to address it, but get over it. It's not the end of the world. And think about it. Half the drama that high school for me was what, 8 years ago? 7, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want anything running from my past. So now it's like I'm gonna address something when it happens, for one. Whether that person is ready for me to say it or not, I've done my part. Whether it was my fault and I'm gonna ask for forgiveness, or I'm gonna express that something has happened, I'm going straight to God and I'm gonna ask, hey, this is something that's bothering me. I need to get over it. God will help you get over that thing. But if you want to sit there and marinate in your own pity,
Have at it, fam.
have at it, brother.
Yeah, it's like God has given humanity jurisdiction over the earth. So if God has given humanity jurisdiction, then that means he's not the one that caused it.
Right.
But he will use it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this is why the scripture says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose.
Yeah.
Because although God may not have directly caused it, he still will use it.
Mm-hmm.
He will still take the crooked path and make it straight.
Right.
He will still take the broken areas of your life and make them beautiful. But you have to surrender them to him.
Yeah.
And so we live in a culture and in a generation of people who would rather harbor their pain
Yeah.
and hold on to it themselves rather than release it unto someone who can actually do something with it.
Think about it like this. If you're not releasing it to God, who are you releasing it to?
Oh, Jesus.
Think about that.
No, he didn't.
Now, if you're in a position
No, he didn't.
if you're in a position where you're easily offended by things, who are you really being used by? Really think about it.
Uh-oh.
If you are triggered by these smallest things, like one thing that I had to recently get over was people stepping on my shoes.
Yeah.
Get over it, bro.
It's going to happen.
It's gonna happen. Like even kids, like there's so much that you get upset about that just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We use so much energy for God's like, okay, bro, like what are you really doing? I can't use you with this myself.
Here's the last thing I'll say, because I think we're at 25 minutes and we got to get out of here. I got to teach tomorrow for Eat the Scroll.
Shout out! Oh my goodness.
We got to make a plug. But Stephen Furtick has this great analogy where he starts to talk about offense. And what he does on stage is that every moment where he says an offense happens, he puts a piece of a physical fence. Every moment. Offense. 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 And what we fail to realize is that every moment that we keep harboring offense in our lives, we are actually building a fence. We are building a fence between us and that other person. We are building a fence between us and what God is trying to do in our lives. Because the scripture says that when you harbor unforgiveness in your heart, how can your Father forgive you?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so it's like we have to be cognizant and aware of the fact that the little things we need to let go. The big things we need to acknowledge, we need to feel them, and we still need to heal from them.
Yeah.
Just because it was traumatic does not mean that it gives you a pass to not heal from it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people stay there. They stay in a place where their trigger has gotten the best of them. And so rather than healing from it, rather than saying, why is this triggering me? Why does this put me back in this place? And going through the process of healing with another individual or with God, we would rather loathe in that pain, loathe in that bondage. And so I think it's complex, because I don't want to be insensitive, right? I don't want to seem as if like what people have experienced, I'm just neglecting that. However, I do want people to understand that there is still another way.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think this is going to wrap this episode, fam. It's late. It's almost 11 o'clock, and we still got mad stuff to do.
I still got a lot to do tonight.
But I love y'all. We will end up shooting another episode very soon. You guys will see our face back in the place. Listen, if you're on Apple or Spotify, leave us a rate, leave us a review. I read every single one of them. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. I read your comments. We've been super, super grateful for all the feedback that we have been receiving from you guys about the reinstitution of the pod. We've been back for what? This is about to be our third episode back. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. But I will catch you in another episode. I love you guys. Peace.